Be happy. Be healthy. Be your best. Be your best.
So I did some research on a subject that I've kind of had some fun with the last year. And the more I looked into it, the more I just was fascinated by how much is involved with it. And the subject is that of taking the proactive step of decluttering your home, your business, your life in general. And the more I dug in, the more it just was fascinating to see different aspects of it. So I want to share some of those with you. I actually have some notes this time because I didn't want to miss any of these. So, what are the benefits of going through and decluttering the different areas of your life, your business, your car, your home? It also extends to, in the long run, actually your mind and a lot of other different areas. Well, let's just dive in and dig in and you'll see. So, the mental health benefits were that there's less stress. Tidy space helped your mind feel calm and peaceful. Quick wins. Finishing a small drawer or a little area or just a tiny little space can give you a fast boost of confidence. Another one was lower anxiety. Knowing you only have to work for a little bit of time to accomplish something really is just something that lowers anxiety because it stops worry before it starts. Practical benefits. Easy to clean. If you have less clutter, then it means you spend less time moving things around in order to sweep or wipe or dust or whatever you need to do. You save money. When your items are organized, you stop buying extra copies of things you already own. How many of us have moved something or done something and said, oh, shoot, I just bought one of those last week and here I already had one and we forgot that we had it. So you save time. You spend zero time missing for lost keys, lost shoes, lost tools. You get in the habit of organizing things where you put things in the same place and you know right where they are. It actually makes for a less stressed life. Habit building benefits. This is another one. No burnout. When you start to declutter, you set limits on what you're going to do. 15 minutes is the one that is most recommended because with 15 minutes, it's short enough that you're not going to feel tired. And yet at the same time, you're also not going to want to quit because you know that it's just a small window. Another thing is that when you set 15 minutes a day to do some decluttering, doing it every day takes something that's a chore and just turns it into a daily routine. Big progress. It sounds crazy, but small little 15-minute increments of decluttering actually adds up to seeing some transformation of a space in just a few weeks. And this is just a really big boost on a lot of levels. So, what are the three hardest categories that are known that are the hardest to declutter? This is where you start getting into different aspects of decluttering and how do you beat those? Well, the first one that was listed in research was sentimental items. These carry a lot of emotional weight, and people often feel guilty about discarding things that have been given to them as gifts um, or things that have physical memories attached to them. So, one of the suggestions that I found that I thought was really interesting was it said take a photo of the item to preserve the memory digitally or limit yourself to one small keepsake box, kind of like you almost label it like a memory box. And that forces you to prioritize things and still be decluttering things that have that emotional impact. Another thing was clutter that is inspirational clutter for the future. These are things that you keep because they're for the person you want to be rather than the person you are today. And I thought it was really interesting that the suggestion that was given was that you have to be brutally honest with yourself. If you haven't touched an item in over a year, then acknowledging that it doesn't really align with who you are in the present lets you release it without having a judgment against yourself for doing so. The other thing is what if items. This was a good one too. Things like old appliance manuals, extra extension cords, spare parts that you hold on just in case you need them someday. Okay. Just in case you need this, just in case you need that. And the recommended fix was if an item can be easily replaced for less than $20 or downloaded digitally within 20 minutes, get rid of it. I thought that was one I hadn't heard before. So I thought that was really a cool one too. So then I found that the research went into what are the types of trauma and stressors that actually make it where it's difficult for people to declutter. The first one was childhood neglect or abuse. It said that if you grew up in an unstable or unsafe environment where emotional support was missing, then that teaches the brain to attach safety to physical objects instead of people. It's really a fascinating concept when you think of it. Another one was bereavement and sudden loss. Losing a loved one or experiencing severe relationship breakups can trigger a real fear of abandonment, making it hard to let go of things that are tied to memories. And then the third one was deprivation and poverty. Anybody who has experienced real financial hardship or a sudden lack of resources or grew up as a child where things were scarce and there was deprivation and poverty, that can create a lasting subconscious belief that every item might be needed later for survival. And so that makes it where people start holding on to things everywhere because it actually in the back of their mind feels like they might not survive if they don't hold on to them. So you can see where these would be some really serious triggers that would make it where decluttering could become difficult. But that's where the suggestions on just taking 15 minutes, making it where you to short term and look at things from the standpoint of how long you've had them, if you really need them, and just following the principles that we talked about earlier makes it where it's then easier to start this process. So, what's the challenge I want to give you? Well, it's one that I did with myself. My home would be considered neat and tidy. Nobody walking in my room, in any of my rooms or my house would see things stacked or any stuff of that nature. They wouldn't have the immediate impression that I should declutter. But it was fascinating when I decided to challenge myself to take 15 minutes a day for a month and just go through and start decluttering, how much stuff I actually found that I was able to donate and get rid of. And to this day, even after that challenge, I once a week take a bag or a box to Goodwill and I donate it because I find things still that I really don't need or can get rid of, or like the one I mentioned earlier, I actually have duplicates of. So I challenge you to take 30 days and take 15 minutes a day and see what you can declutter from your car, from your house, from your business. And you will be amazed at the transformation that you see happen. So, this is valuable information. Please share it with family, friends. Maybe there's those that you realize may not have realized, and you've seen that they have a need to declutter some. And then others that may not look like they have to, but if you share the information with them, it may benefit them a lot in ways that you don't even know about. So please like and subscribe and share. And I look forward to you in the next episode.
Be your best. Be happy.